Welcome to the A6 Dungiven to Drumahoe Drilling Project Induction. Purpose of the induction. In this induction, we aim to give all working on the A6 D2D project an understanding of the teams working on the project, the dangers present, key systems in place to help control said dangers, and more. Once the presentation is complete, click the tick box on the top right of the video presentation and then select the quiz below. Once you have completed the quiz, you may click the link below that to receive your certificate. Index. The following presentation will give you an understanding of the project, of the hazards present, and our systems to deal with said issues. This presentation will be split into 3 sections: the project and its policies, hazards and risks, COVID-19 and environmental areas of concern. Requirements for new inductees. Provide evidence and a copy of training, competency cards or certificates. Complete the inductee personal details form. Complete the induction presentation online via Safety Hub. Sign up to the relevant JV approved RAMs. Operators in the project must have an appropriate ticket card for any plant being operated on site. This must be approved during induction and confirmed to be accepted. Supervisors and foremen must have formal managerial training. All workers under the age of 18 must have an individual young person's risk assessment completed before beginning work. Main objectives of the A6 D2D are to improve the Northwestern Key Transport Corridor as identified in the Regional Development Strategy of 2035, reduce journey times and improve journey time reliability, improve the environment of Dungiven by providing a bypass for strategic traffic, and improve road safety. Construction on the project includes improvements of the A6 trunk road from single carriageway to dual 2-lane carriageway, 4 new compact grade separated junctions at the B118 Tamna Heron Road, the U1175 Gulf Road, the B69 Barnard Road, and the B74 Feeney Road. Map of the project. Currently displayed is a map of the project. You can find a detailed map in the site office or online at a6d2d.com, as well as other information about the project, including monthly updates. Project teams. On the project, there are numerous teams working together. Here are a number of the core teams involved. Feel free to pause the video to read more about the individual teams. SWS JV, the principal contractor and principal designer. ACOM, the client representative and project manager. The SWS is a joint venture of 3 different contractors. These include Cecere, Samag, and Willsbros. The Department for Infrastructure, often referred to as DFI, is the client for the project. ROD, the design consultant for the project. Considered Constructor Scheme, of which the JV is proud to have attained and maintain ultra-site status. Key personnel. While there is many working together to see the project through to its completion, on screen are a number of the key personnel you may wish to be aware of. These consist of, for the project manager team, Michael Troughton and Juan Rodriguez, the construction manager for roadworks, John Lagan, the construction manager for structures and pavements, Amy Palencia, the project health and safety manager, John O'Meara, commercial manager, James McKim and Maurice McElnulty, the site agents, Kier McElduff for drainage, John Diamond for structures, Ruben Estevez Rodriguez for earthworks, Rory Kilfeller for utilities. The public liaison officer, Tony Lowe, with Kevin Nicola Barry being the public liaison assistant, the environmental manager, Sarah Traynor, and the quality manager, Bill Davis. Health and Safety Policy. The policy of SWS JV and its commitment to health and safety is currently on screen. Feel free to pause the video and have a full read through to gain a good understanding of the JV's commitment to health and safety. Legal duties. Health and Safety at Work Order 1978. On screen are the employer's duties in commitment to the Health and Safety at Work Order of 1978. Feel free to pause the video to have a full read through and understanding of these duties and commitments. Employee specific duties. On screen are the specific duties that all employees must adhere to while working on the project. Feel free to pause the video to have a full read through. Accident and Incident Reporting Procedure. All accidents, incidents, and near miss events must be reported to management immediately. It is a requirement for persons on medication which may affect their duties to report this to site management also. Please notify management if you suffer from any illness, disease, allergy, or existing health condition which might affect your ability to do work, or which should be made known to a doctor in the event you take ill on site. Such details should be recorded in your health questionnaire. Zero tolerance behaviours. There shall be zero tolerance and dismissal from site of operatives for serious health and safety breaches. These breaches include, but are not limited to, working at height without adequate use of fall restraint if it is required, operating machine without appropriate certified training, interfering with scaffolding, using a mobile phone while operating a vehicle, working in an unprotected trench, breach of permit or working without a permit, working on site under the influence of illegal drugs or alcohol, creation of ignition source at or near live gas installations, and failure to report damage to utilities. SWS JV Disciplinary Policy. SWS JV operate the following disciplinary procedure for behavioural offences. Disciplinary action will be taken where workers do not follow site safety rules. White card, a verbal warning. This can result from a breach of site environmental health and safety rules by an individual for the first time. Yellow card, a written warning. This can be a result of a serious misconduct requiring a more serious warning than the issue of a white card, but not warranting dismissal from the site. This will result in a minimum of a 2-day suspension. Red card, dismissal. This can be the result of gross misconduct relating to health, safety, and environmental matters. Remember, site rules are designed to keep you and others safe at work. Our main aim is to prevent accidents, not punish people. Consultation. If there is any issue you would like to report, feel free to submit an observation card. Once filled in, please submit it to either your supervisor or foreman, a member of the health and safety team, or make use of the drop box at the project office. Toolbox talks should be conducted frequently on site, covering a wide range of issues. They will also be issued digitally via Safety Hub. Morning briefings should be attended every morning. Immediate concerns should be addressed. In the case of an emergency, always contact your supervisor or foreman about the situation directly and immediately. The minimum PPE requirements on the project is as displayed on the screen. A hard hat, a high-vis vest or jacket, high-vis trousers, and safety boots. Mental health. Do you need help? Remember, you are never alone. If you or someone you know needs help or support, there are a variety of confidential services available. The most important step in addressing mental health is starting the conversation. Being open can help others take their first step. The SWS JV promotes a number of outside organisations for supporting others. This includes Construction Industry Helpline, Samaritans, Mates in Mind, and Campaign Against Living Miserably, often referred to as CAM. Please see on screen a number of contact numbers and email addresses if in need. Policy on drugs and alcohol. SWSJV operates a zero tolerance policy with regard to usage or being under the influence of drugs and alcohol while working on this site. Disciplinary action will be taken in the case of impaired. In terms of the policy, any person who has a breath alcohol concentration that exceeds 13 mg per 100 ml is deemed to be impaired due to alcohol and therefore in contravention of this policy. Mobile phone policy. Mobile phones can be a benefit as well as a hindrance on construction sites. They can be an essential means of emergency communication or a distraction from construction site hazards. The use of mobile phones while driving or operating machinery is strictly prohibited on this site. Always be aware of your surroundings when on the phone. You can only use your mobile phone in a stationary vehicle with engine switched off, inside of a welfare facility or inside the office, and when in a mobile phone designated safe area. Mobile phone safe area must be defined in your risk assessment and must be physically separated from any working area on site. Stop work policy. Every SWSJV employee has the responsibility and authority to stop work immediately, without fear of reprisal, when the employee believes that either themselves or others are in immediate danger of harm. An immediate danger is defined as any condition or practice that could reasonably be expected to cause death or serious injury, or environmental harm. When an employee, affiliate, or contractor encounters conditions or practices that appear to constitute an immediate danger, such individuals have the authority and responsibility to alert the affected workers. Resumption of work will not proceed until the condition has been evaluated and the appropriate remedial actions have been taken. Reporting unsafe conditions. Employees are expected to report any activity or condition which he/she believes is unsafe. Notification should be made to the affected workers and then to the supervisor or designee at the location where the activity or condition exists. Key site rules on this project. Housekeeping must be maintained to a high standard. Report unsafe conditions to management immediately. Do not interfere with anything provided in the interest of health and safety. Burning is not permitted on the site. A trained slinger/banksman is required to supervise slinging and lifting operations. Be respectful to others. Bullying or aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. Report any signs of spills or pollution to management immediately. Never ever enter an unsafe excavation. Working hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Be aware in regards to both noise and lighting in regards to yourself as well as the general public. Working alone requires an individual risk assessment. No one is allowed to work alone in a high-risk area. On site, the maximum speed limit is 20 miles per hour. Slow down to 5 miles per hour in parking areas when driving by pedestrians or plant, and make sure to reverse park only. All cost items are to be stored away safely at the end of the day. Those making use of cost items should be trained to do so as needed and be aware of the risk assessment and emergency procedure. Key hazards. People plant/vehicle interface, overhead and underground services, slips, trips and falls, public interface including dog walkers, cyclists and runners. Often the site will not be walled off, so people may unknowingly wander into the site. Working at height, excavations and risk of encountering ground gases. Dust, if present, should be risk assessed. Slurry tankers should be used if able. If unable to damp down and contain the dust, those working in area of dust should make use of appropriate PPE. This includes gloves, coveralls, and a respirator. Be aware of the effect that dust has on the public roads. halves. All vibration tools should be checked before being used on site. Any tool with vibration value of over 64 ms should not be hand operated. All vibration tools on site should have a safe system of works. Noise restriction in place. Areas with high levels of noise should be assessed and follow work regulations. Working in or near the water. Manual handling. Any person partaking in work activities that will involve manual handling should have received manual handling training. It is the HSE policy to limit unnecessary manual lifting as much as possible. Asbestos may be present on site. In case of doubts, stop work and ask for advice. Do not disturb it. If needles are found on site, inform your supervisor or foreman. Do not attempt to remove it without wearing appropriate protective gloves and given instruction by your supervisor or foreman. When found in a dangerous area, contact the local authorities. Permits. Permits are just another form of control measures. The piece of paper won't protect you, but adhering to its guidance will. Make use of the permits as needed. Below are a list of some of the permits we make use of on the site. They consist of the permit to dig. 2 different permits will be in use: areas free of underground utilities and to work near underground utilities. The confined space entry permit to work in any confined space. Hot works permit for all activities that can originate a fire. Permit to work under overhead lines, to work under or near overhead obstructions. Permit to pump or discharge. A permit to pump or discharge water is a requirement for all pumping and discharging operations being set up on site. Ecological permit to work. A permit to identify protected species or any ecological restrictions in the area. Permit to lift. It will ensure that lifting plan and all necessary procedures were followed. And plant permit. All plant must be inspected before arriving on site, and a permit tag should be issued authorizing the plant to work. Machinery on the public road. To operate plant machinery on the public road, you must be driving a road legal piece of equipment, hold a full Category B license as a minimum, be at least 18 years of age to operate plant between 3.5 and 7.5 tons, be 21 years of age to operate plant over 7.5 tons. An abnormal loads permit is required to transport plant in excess of 2.9 meters wide. A vehicle escort is required to transport plant between site accesses. Persons driving a vehicle carrying dangerous goods must, by law, hold an ADR license, which is the European Agreement concerning the international carriage of dangerous goods by road. A good example would be transporting a Bowser full of diesel by tractor. Temporary traffic management. On this project, without exception, TTM must be in place if needed. It can take 4 to 12 weeks to arrange, so don't forget to plan it out. No operations can begin near a road without appropriate TTM in place. Never move or change TTM without a qualified TTM operative / TSCO managing the task. To be a TTM operative, you must have a Lancer or equivalent card and should ensure the JV has record of this. If any damages to TTM or passing vehicles occur, please notify your supervisor or foreman. TTM must be manned at all times while in use by a trained TTM operative. When accessing the site, make use of a safe and approved access point. Never make a right turn onto site unless approved to do so with a safe system of works. The maximum speed limit on site is 20 miles per hour. And when near other plant, vehicles, machinery or people, slow down to 5 miles per hour. Light vehicles on site. All light vehicles on site must be Chapter 8 compliant. This includes having a roof-mounted twin amber beacon. The rear of the vehicle must display an adequate red and yellow reflective chevron and a highway maintenance or motorway maintenance sign on the back, high visibility retroreflective strip on the side on any vehicle that is not yellow or white, and red retroreflective tape shall also be applied to rear-facing edges of open doors. Flashing beacons are a mandatory requirement on all plant. Permit to dig. The purpose of this procedure is to ensure the health and safety of people, prevent damage to existing utilities, and the protection of the environment when working in the proximity to underground or overhead utilities. Depending on the permit colour, this may require the signature of a senior manager before the task can proceed. All personnel must be briefed daily on the content of the permit at the location of the planned works. Work must stop if the responsible person is not in attendance. Where there is a road, pavement, or other hard surface, power tools such as road saws and jackhammers may be used to break through the surface. However, this may only be undertaken when there is a detailed, highly supervised, safe system of works which must be approved by the utility coordinator. As the excavation proceeds, drawings must be rechecked and the ground must be rescanned by a trained, competent individual at 300mm intervals using Cat and Jenny equipment. When excavating around a known utility, work must progress with a consideration given to the possible variations in the route and depth of the utility. Regular monitoring must be undertaken by the responsible person to ensure the work is being carried out in accordance with the permit controls. Where the line and level of the utility cannot be confirmed with confidence, trial holes under the control of the permit to break ground and specific rams must be carried out. Lifting operations. The lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations of 1999, often referred to as LOLER. Lifting equipment includes any equipment used at work for lifting or lowering loads, including attachments used for anchoring, fixing, or supporting it. The regulations cover a wide range of equipment, including cranes, excavators when used for lifting, forklift trucks, lifts, hoists, mobile elevating work platforms, and vehicle inspection platform hoists. The definition also includes lifting accessories such as chains, slings, eye bolts, etc. All lifts must have a lifting plan. Exclusion zones must be implemented. Never walk under a suspended load. All lifts must be controlled by a competent person. Taglines to be used where appropriate. Thumbs up system. Ensure drivers are aware of your presence before entering their hazard zone. First ask yourself, do I really need to go in there? Never approach them from a blind spot, but keep your distance. Ensure you've made eye contact with the operator or the driver. When the driver is ready for you to pass by, they will signal by giving you a thumbs up. Do not stand in the danger area, such as too close to the wheels. Be aware and vigilant of operations and activities around you. Expect the unexpected. Alerting drivers and operators. The plant operator must place the bucket on the ground if operating an excavator. All plant must be switched off before giving thumbs up. Remove the keys when plant are not attended. On the images on the screen, you may see plant interface zones, highlighted in different colors and hatched marks. The yellow zones, all personnel involved with the plant operations must remain within the zone to maintain visual contact with the plant operator. Amber zones. Entry prohibited until positive visual contact is made with the plant operator. The slew arm hydraulics grounded and the machine is immobilized using the safety lever. Red zones. Entry prohibited unless the machine is completely isolated with the slew arm attached, bucket grounded, the machine immobilized using the safety lever, and the engine is switched off. Hatch zones. Denotes typical sightlines of the plant operator. Site rules for ride on rollers and dumpers. Evidence of formal training required. Step down from site dumper while loading. Stand at a safe point. Always wear your seatbelt while driving. Drive at a safe speed. Keep clear of edges. Use of mobile phones prohibited while driving. Be vigilant for other plant and parked vehicles. COVID-19, the basics. Signs and symptoms of COVID-19. The following symptoms may develop in the 14 days after exposure to someone who has had the COVID-19 infection. Dry cough, difficulty in breathing, fever, loss of taste and or sense of smell. If you or any member of your household has had any of these symptoms, the entire household should self-isolate. For prevention, we recommend that you wash your hands well and often to avoid contamination. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue or sleeve when coughing or sneezing and discard used tissues. Avoid touching eyes, nose or mouth with unwashed hands. And clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. COVID-19 key guidance for site workers. Try and maintain a 2 meters social distancing at all times where possible. Implement mitigation measures for unavoidable close working. If you receive a positive test result, self-isolate in line with government guidance. Restrict numbers in canteens and site vehicles, where face coverings if travelling together is required. Report all positive test results as well as any concerns to SWS management. Wash your hands, plant, tools, etc. regularly and thoroughly. All RAMs should adhere to and follow CLC guidance as well as government guidelines. COVID-19 developing symptoms. If you develop symptoms for COVID-19, additionally to self-isolating, contact your supervisor or line manager to inform them of the situation. You'll be asked to complete a COVID-19 information profile. They'll be looking to find out who else you may have been in close contact with recently. The NHS website classifies close contact as close face-to-face contact under 1 meter for any length of time, including talking to them or coughing on them, being within 1 to 2 meters of each other for more than 15 minutes, including travelling in a small vehicle. COVID-19 self-isolation. You may be required to self-isolate for a number of reasons. This can include awaiting test results due to being symptomatic, identified as a close contact, or travel. If it returns positive, self-isolate for 10 days, starting from the initial test date. If it returns negative and you have been double vaccinated for over 14 days, you can return to work. If not, then you must self-isolate for 10 days, starting from the initial test date. Before returning to work, you should complete a report form. This is subject to change. Please refer to the NI Direct for up-to-date guidelines. Make sure to keep your supervisor informed if you have to self-isolate for any reason. Ecology and nature conservation. Special areas of conservation are those which have been given protection under the Conservation Regulations of 1995. They may have been designated because of a possible threat to the special habitats or species which they contain, and to provide increased protection to a variety of animals, plants, and habitats of importance to biodiversity both on a national and international scale. The river fauna and tributaries. The river fauna and tributaries is designated as a special area of conservation, area of special scientific interest, which comprises approximately 60 kilometers of river, including the river fauna and its tributaries, which also include the Foreland River and the Burntollet River. All necessary precautions will be taken when working in the vicinity of the Fawn River and its tributaries to avoid any potential pollution of the aquatic and riparian habitats. The river row and tributaries. Within the study area, the site consists of the narrowly defined corridors of the Roe, Owen Beg, and Owen Rye rivers, which will form part of the River Row and Tributaries Special Area of Conservation. All necessary precautions will be taken when working in the vicinity of the River Roe, Owen Beg, and Owen Rye, rivers to avoid any pollution in the aquatic and riparian habitats. Working near watercourses and/or special area of conservation. Remember, no in-stream works permitted without appropriate consent. Clearance of riparian habitats will be restricted to the immediate footprint of any watercourses crossings. Ensure appropriate protections are in place, examples such as fencing, sediment ponds and bunds, etc., prior to working near watercourses. Undertake regular inspections of protection measures, maintaining and repair when necessary. Ensure all vehicles are maintained and are not leaking. Have all spill kits on hand and train staff on how to deal with a spill in line with the spill response plan. Clean up spills immediately and report all incidents. Only refuel on firm, level ground at least 10 meters from watercourses. Ensure all stockpile material is at least 10 meters from watercourses and no higher than 2 meters. Protect stockpile material using erosion and geotextile matting. Keep cement and raw concrete out of watercourses. Report any siltation issues to supervisor and/or the environmental team immediately. Protecting species. Otters are known to feed along the waterways, although no holds exist within the site. Badger sets are known to exist in the general area. Bats feed in the general area. Care should be taken in removing vegetation and demolishing structures. Red squirrels are known to live and feed in the general area. Birds can be expected to feed and nest in the locality. These species and/or their places of shelter are protected from intentional, deliberate, or reckless killing, injury, disturbance, damage, or destruction. Protection of wild birds in the UK. All wild birds are protected under the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981 whilst they are actively nesting. It should be assumed that birds will be nesting in trees, scrubs, reeds, or substantial ditch side vegetation during the core breeding period of mid-March to August inclusive. Invasive species. In Northern Ireland, the Wildlife Order of 1985 states that it is an offence under Article 15 if anyone plants or otherwise causes to grow in the wild any species of plant listed on Schedule 9, Part 2. For this project, there are 3 key plants you should be aware of. They are the Japanese knotweed. These can be identified by their stems with zigzag growth pattern, green with red and purple flecks. Their leaves, lush green shovel-shaped leaves with a pointed tip. Their flowers, creamy white coloured panicles of flowers. The Himalayan balsam, with their stems which may be green or striking red, often a mixture of the two. And their flowers that can vary between white, pink and purple, with 5 petals giving a hooded appearance. And finally, the giant hogweed. This can be identified by its stems, green with purple blotches, and stiff white hairs. Its leaves, huge and up to 1.5 meters and 3 meters long, and is deeply divided into smaller leaflets. The underside of the leaf is hairy. Flowers appear in June and July. They are small and white or slightly pink, and are clustered on umbrella-like heads that can reach a diameter of 60 centimeters. Warning: the sap contains toxic chemicals or furanocoumarins, which bring on severe burns, blistering, and skin irritation when exposed to UV rays from the sun. Silt. Silt is the term used for a very fine sand, clay, or other material carried by running water. Silt can be washed off construction sites into nearby watercourses and drains with the potential of causing blockages and leading to flooding. The biggest cause of pollution incidents is construction operations. Pollution by silt can be caused by rainwater, runoff on covered areas of the topsoil stripped site, pumping out and dewatering of excavations, which always requires a permit, and excavating/clearing of ditches and drains. Avoid environmental harm. High levels of silt suspended in water can suffocate fish by blocking their gills, removing essential oxygen from the water. It can kill plants, animals, and insects living in the water by stopping sunlight reaching them. Silt often combines with other contaminants such as oils and chemicals, potentially causing greater pollution than silt alone. Silt running into drains carries the risk of blocking them and causing flooding and pollution. Avoid persecution. It is illegal to allow silt to enter a watercourse or drain. Silt pollution is easily traceable to the site from where it originated. In the past, The do's. Only discharge silty water into designated settlement systems. Check the site drainage and settlement systems are working. Discoloration may indicate high pollution loading. Stop pumping and contact a line manager if there is a problem arising. Pumping permits is required for all pumping operations. Ensure that all hard standings are kept clean. Notify a line manager immediately if silty water is seen entering a watercourse or drain. Do try to stop it or divert it away by, for example, using sandbags. Considering installing cut-off trenches or silt fences to prevent silty surface runoff. Monitor weather forecasts and plan work accordingly. Regularly check watercourses that could be affected by dewatering operations or rainwater runoff. The don'ts. Do not water any excavation without notifying a supervisor/environmental team. Do not pump silty water directly into rivers, ditches, or surface water drains. Do not strip land of vegetation unless it is absolutely necessary. Vegetation reduces silt runoff. Do not store soil, stone, or similar materials within 10 meters of watercourses or drains. Do not dig a grip to release ponded water to a watercourse or drain. Waste segregation and recycling. Mixed recycling. Wherever possible, packaging such as cardboard, plastics, etc. will be segregated and recycled. Unwanted packaging will be returned to suppliers for recycling or reuse. Metal. Wherever possible, steel and other metals will be segregated and recycled. Wastage of rebar will be reduced by ensuring any rebar ordered is measured by the manufacturer and detailed scheduling of all reinforced concrete structural elements. Timber. Wherever possible, uncontaminated timber waste such as pallets, offcuts, damaged timber will be segregated and recycled. Offcuts and trimmings will be used for formwork wherever possible. Skips and bins in the on-site recycling centre within the site compound are monitored to ensure that cross-contamination of segregated skips and bins does not occur. All appointed subcontractors will be required to work in accordance with the approved SWMP. Subcontractor works operations will be managed by our site supervisory staff to ensure appropriate procedures are being followed. Fuel and waste control. All concrete must be disposed of to a designated concrete washout area. No washout is permitted over the land. Jerry cans, pumps, generators, diesel oil powered tools must be placed on a plant nappy or drip trays when not in use. Spill procedure. In the event of hydraulic hose breakage, use your spill kit to contain the spill. Then immediately notify your supervisor. Check for leaks and spills daily. All spills must be reported to your supervisor and dealt with immediately. Fuels, oil, or chemicals must be stored away securely from watercourses and sensitive areas, and within bunds, drip trays, or the cosh cabinet to prevent spillage or pollution. Minor injury units. A minor injury unit can treat injuries that are not critical or life-threatening. You may wish to consider attending a minor injury unit if it is suitable for the type of injury that you have. Type of injuries that can be treated at a minor injury unit: broken bones, sprains, bruises and wounds, bites, either human, animal and insect, burns and scalds, wound infections, minor head injuries, broken noses and nosebleeds, foreign bodies in the eyes and nose. In case of doubt, go to Alnagavin Hospital. Site security. In the interest of the protection of property, all plant and equipment is to be locked and secured when not in use. Keep your private vehicle locked at all times and park in a safe place. Small tools are to be locked away in the designated area when not in use. Lock and secure fuel boilers. Notify management of any suspicious activity and report suspicious behaviour. Work with us to keep the site safe and secure. And this concludes the end of the A6 Dromahode Dungiven induction. Please remember to work safely, and thank you for listening.